Let's go.
Yeah, you don't have to ask my permission. You're the boss, right?
Oh, I love being the boss, but I'm not really a boss. This is a group effort. So welcome. My name is Wendy Adam. I'm the president of the Okotoks Kiwanis Club. I really appreciate you taking time out this evening to join us just to see what Kiwanis may offer to the citizens of Okotoks and what we do offer to children, vulnerable children around the world, and of course in our own communities. So we really appreciate your time. One thing that Kiwanis does, and we aspire to in Okotoks, is to hold our meetings to an hour. We may go over a little bit tonight, but that's one of our aspirations, is to respect everyone's time. So I would ask that you all go on mute so that we don't have flushing toilets, dogs barking, and things like that. Bob Morrison, Roland, and myself will be co-hosts this evening. And Roland, where are you? There you are. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a bit of a roll call just so I don't miss anyone. So if you could just put up your hand and wave, that would be great. I'm here. My husband is in a hospital. Mark Anderson, I saw. Welcome, Mark. Dennis and Susan Dahl. Ellen and Philip Gillies.
Yeah, we're both here.
Lenny and Ryan Nix. Lena. There you are, Lena. Elaine and Bill Robertson. And Melanie and Graham Taylor. Those are the Kiwanis members of Okotoks that are in attendance tonight. So for guests tonight, Lena has invited Diana Frock. I don't think she's here yet. Deborah Hansen. I don't believe I've seen her. Certainly we've seen Darcy Oberholzer. She was somewhere, I remember.
Yeah, she's waving.
Oh, there she is. And Teresa Fowell. Hi, Teresa. Welcome. Bill and Elaine invited Katie Burrell. Hi, Katie. Lori Riem. I hope I spelled that or said that right. Tracy McNeil. I remember seeing her. Nadine Lewis. Welcome, Nadine. Kelly and Lee Hodgkins, and I don't believe I've seen them come in yet. Ron Fujikawa. Welcome, Ron. And Greg Davidson or Don Gillies, I don't think have joined. Oh, yes. Welcome, Don. Dennis and Susan invited Shirley Putok, and they're the CEO of the Boys and Girls Club. Ryan Duke. Yes, Ryan's here. Diana Bruce. Don't think I saw her join us. And Bob Morrison's invite is Pam Doan. Is Pam with us? I think I did see Pam. Hi, Pam.
Pam's iPhone.
She's the community manager of RBC Okotoks. Cassandra Nemi. Is Cassandra with us tonight? Yes, you are. Cassie. She's the Royal Bank manager of South Bank in Okotoks. Tonight, we also have many Kiwanians from the district joining us. We have our district governor, Roland Saborin. We have, I don't think Ed Fadoon has joined us yet. We have Ron Gossett. I'm pretty sure I saw him. There you are, Ron. He's the president. Oh, Goslin. My apologies, Ron. He's the president of the Cochrane Club. Did Bob Fleming join us? I don't think I saw him. Dirk Bannister. Dirk Bannister, I know, is here. He's a past international trustee of Kiwanis, and he's the current secretary of both Cochrane and Northmount. We have George Taven, who's the Lieutenant Governor of Division 7. We have Nancy Wigglesworth, who is the president of the Airdrie Club, and Russ Snyder from the Northmount Club. Is there anyone here that I have missed? Oh, and of course, my apologies.
Shirley.
Pardon?
I think you missed Shirley.
Shirley. Where is Shirley? Oh, no, I got
Yeah,
Shirley. Yeah, because Shirley is the CEO of the Boys and Girls Club.
Okay.
Yeah.
And welcome Irene, our guest speaker for this evening, and she will be more formally introduced by Mayor Bill Robertson. So, like I say, we'll be moving quickly along because, like I say, we have a great respect for people's times, and we're so pleased that so many of you could join this evening. As I said, put up your hands. We're going to be asking occasionally if there are questions after we run a couple of very short videos, and they are very short. Sometimes they can get too long, and after Irene does her presentation. So, like I say, if everybody stays on mute, we won't hear the toilets flush or the dogs bark or the sirens go by your house.
Wendy or Roland, Wendy talked earlier about there being a page 2 here that we can't see. Roland, is there people on page 2?
Absolutely.
Who are they, do you know?
Some extra ones on page 2.
Yeah, I see 28 participants at this point.
Yeah, and some of them are on page 2.
So how does Wendy recognize those people?
Well, I see all 28 on my screen.
So do I.
Yeah, so.
Okay, Roland and Bob, could you be the ones that trigger when questions come up? Could you ask the questions? Because I cannot see all 28. Thank you, guys.
I can't see all 28 either.
Okay, well, you're it, Roland.
Okay.
What I would do is I would like the governor of District 7, Roland Saborin, to bring us greetings from District 7. And he is going to run a short 2-minute video with regards to what is Kiwanis for you. So take it away, Roland. It's all up to you.
Okay. I was expecting Division 7 to be George. I'm Roland. I have the privilege of being the governor for Western Canada. So yes, I am a Kiwanis member here in the Calgary area. But Western Canada has 40 clubs across the West, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and Northwest Ontario. And so think of me as the executive director or the CEO of a small piece of a worldwide organization that, as Wendy had mentioned, Kiwanis is all about kids. Supporting kids, so those kids who are in need, or that kids can achieve their best potential. Sometimes the projects are what I call safety net to help those in need. Sometimes they are springboard to help accelerate kids, all the while making for better communities. And I won't talk much about Kiwanis per se at this point, but I do have a 1.5-minute video where some Kiwanians talk about, well, what is Kiwanis? And you'll get a sense of who we are by looking at the faces and what they have to say. So just give me a second to share my screen. Hang on. So it should be coming up now.
Kiwanis is an organization that reaches out to youth and helps them to become the best possible leaders that they could be.
It's about changing a community. It's about changing the future.
Let me tell you that we never give back as much as we receive.
Los Kiwanis somos personas de acción.
The biggest misunderstanding in the public about who and what Kiwanis is that it's a bunch of old white guys hanging around, eating lunch, smoking cigars, talking about what they're going to do for the little poor kids of the world. It's people who are young, it's people who are women, it's brown people, it's white people, it's young, beautiful women like me. That's the truth.
I love Kiwanis. I think they're cool, and more people need to be a part of Kiwanis.
When I joined Kiwanis, it was a good day.
He said, I'd like to invite you to lunch, and I'll pay.
They were getting ready to have a pancake day breakfast.
And I said, oh, these guys are okay.
Je crois que
tous les jours, depuis que je suis rentrée, je me dis que ça ne pouvait pas être autrement.
And I enjoy the company, and they talk about so many interesting things.
And they did this hands-on service themselves, and I said, it's for me, and I joined right away.
El día que cambió mi vida, podríamos decir, porque es una de las partes más importantes de mi vida, estar en Kiwanis.
So that's the minute and a half. I think you saw some of the faces. Again, we are a global organization in over 80 countries. I think the important thing to realize, although we're global, it's the local clubs that make the decisions on what the needs are in the local community. And I know I'll come back after to talk a little bit more about Kiwanis, but I think at this point I turn it over to Bill to introduce our guest of honor and our guest speaker. So Bill, if you would unmute. You're still muted, Bill?
Yeah, there we go.
No, he's back.
There we go. Those tricky little buttons. Well, good evening, everyone. It is my distinct pleasure and honor to welcome quite a distinguished guest as our guest speaker this evening. I'd like to welcome Irene Pfeiffer. And Irene, there's such a list of accomplishments here. Bear with me for a moment. Irene Pfeiffer is president of Moorgate Holdings and was a partner and co-founder of PWR Search, formerly Russell Reynolds Associates. She joined Russell Reynolds after 6 years as vice president, executive search for PricewaterhouseCoopers. Prior to that, she had been involved in all facets of human resources, as well as internal communications with companies such as Mobil Oil Canada Limited, Suncor Resources Inc., and Shell Canada Limited. Areas of specialization include organizational reviews, senior staff planning, change management, workplace diversity, employment equity. For 10 years, Irene also served Mount Royal College, now of course Mount Royal University, as an administrator and sessional instructor in business education. Irene is chair of the board of Teen Challenge Canada and the Probus Club of Calgary, and is also a member for the board for Trinity Place Foundation in Calgary. She is also a board member of the Alberta College of Pharmacists and a member of the executive committee. She is a past president of the Calgary Chamber of Commerce and the Alberta Chamber. She is also a past president of the College of Physicians and Surgeons of Alberta, a past co-chair of the Health Quality Council of Alberta, and past chair of the Human Resources Committee of Stars Air Ambulance, and a member of the board. Irene is a co-founder of the Pearls of Wisdom Scholarship Fund for Mount Royal College and a former executive in residence of the Banff Center. She was also instrumental in the creation of the Women's Loan Program for Alberta. Irene received an honorary Bachelor of Administration degree from SAIT in 2016. Now, that's just the start of it. There are so many awards here, but I'm going to read out a number of them. These are quite notable accomplishments. Irene received the Certificate of Merit from the College of Physicians and Surgeons in 2011. She was nominated for the 2025 Transformational Canadians Program by the Globe and Mail in 2010, named one of Alberta's 50 most influential people by Venture magazine in 2010. She was awarded the Lifetime Philanthropist Generosity of Spirit Award in November 2009. She was awarded the Mayor's Award for Excellence in Volunteerism and the Business and Professional Woman of the Year Award in 2002. She is also included in a who's who of Canadian women. But I think I saved this one to last because, in my opinion, this is extremely impressive. Irene was awarded the Order of Canada in December 2007. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's my extreme pleasure to welcome Irene Pfeiffer as our guest speaker this evening. Please, actually, with the kids at school, I used to do a round of applause. So if you could give Irene a round of applause. And Irene, the floor is yours. And welcome to Kiwanis Okotoks.
Well, thank you very much. As you know, Bill, I've lived in the area for many, many years and just moved to Calgary a couple of years ago. For those of you who live out there, I used to live just off of Highway number 7 west of the Big Rock. And my heart is still there, that's for sure. But it's my extreme pleasure to be with you today. I often think when people introduce me that I hope that St. Peter is as kind once I pass on to the next, wherever I'm going to go. But I want to thank you very much for allowing me to speak with you tonight. And I wanted to take a little bit of time to talk about volunteering and the contribution that we all make and others can make to our community. In 2018, the Conference Board of Canada stated that 44% of Canadians volunteer in some manner, and the contribution added is approximately $55.9 billion, which is added to the economy. I mean, this is big business. It really is. And it's built on the very strength of us as Canadians. So I was reflecting upon why do we volunteer, whether it be for Kiwanis or in my case with Probus or with Teen Challenge, which is out near Pritis. And there are many reasons why we decide to do this, some of which is that we want to make a positive contribution to our community, or we're improving the life satisfaction and studies. And that's shown to help us with our health and our depression. Some of us may do it to gain business skills or to improve our network. Or perhaps your employer encourages you to do this type of thing. Or maybe because of C19, your family is stressed and your wife or your husband has decided you need a new hobby and you need to get out of the house. There are many reasons why we decide to move on and volunteer, but it really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what our motivation is. The fact is that you're all here tonight. I'm here tonight. And that speaks volumes and means a lot when we contribute to our economy. We all have unique strengths that are badly needed. And Mahatma Gandhi said the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. My own journey in volunteering and volunteerism started when I was a very young girl. My family just instilled the notion that it was very important to do. And I can remember as a young girl, I grew up in Montreal. I remember as a young girl going around at about the age of 7 or 8, selling calendars for Red Cross, or going at Halloween with a little orange box to get the dimes and whatnot. You may remember those, some of you who are of the same vintage as I am. And then there were those Lenten boxes that we used to get in church where we were putting our money in and feeding the hungry at Christmas. I mean, none of this was special. It's just what our parents felt that we should become involved in the community and things that ultimately we decided to want to do. Besides that, the biggest thing is, and still continues to be, my inability to say no. If someone comes to me with a good dream, a good idea, or a good cause, I'm usually the first one to sign up. When I first came out west from Eastern Canada, it was very difficult for me to find employment because it seemed I lacked Western experience. And God forbid I was also a woman. When I lived in the East, I had a very senior position with the University of Toronto. And looking back and coming into the Alberta market, I soon learned that I was ready for Alberta, but Alberta wasn't ready for me. So with no network or business connections, I decided to join the Chamber of Commerce, which you indicated, Bill. And what that did for me was allow me to gain such important connections. I went on to committees. I gained an appreciation of the issues facing Western Canada, and in particular in Alberta. And most importantly, I began to build that network that I still enjoy so many years later. I eventually became the president of the Chamber of Commerce in Calgary and then the Chamber of Commerce for Alberta. I was the second woman to hold those positions. And while I didn't seem to think that was important, an awful lot of other people seemed to. And all the while I was building a reputation for hard work and determination. This served me very well as I went on to join Mount Royal College for 11 years and then the part of the senior team of 2 different oil companies. It was after that time that I packed it in and joined the Mustard Seed Street Ministry, where I worked with the sick and the marginalized and gained an appreciation of the very privileged life that I had. one that I had so taken for granted. And during this whole time, I continued to volunteer in areas of interest to me and what was most important. And that's what the key to volunteering is doing something that you love to do. So what is your passion? Where do you want to expend your energy? Because if you enjoy what you do, it isn't work at all. When C-19 hit last year to counter isolation and stress, I continued to volunteer. It gave me other things to think about and gives me a reason to get up and get dressed and get going. And over the years, I've received many awards, as Bill has indicated, and I didn't set out to get these awards at all. Truthfully, I'm being very selfish when I volunteer, because you see, I get more out of volunteering than I give, most probably. In 2007, I was awarded, as you say, the Order of Canada for my work in the community. And the motto of the Order of Canada is, "We desire a better country." And no one was more surprised than I was when I received this prestigious award. Because as I look around, I feel there are many, many other people who deserve it so much more than I do. And I know that the Kiwanis Club of Canada, and most importantly for you and Okotoks, you have a focus on children. And what a gift to volunteer with an organization that puts its effort into the next generation, while at the same time acknowledging the contribution and effort that each of us can make. And you're all here for a reason tonight. Something motivated you to join in and ask for more, whatever more is. Okotoks has a very strong volunteer base, and that's possibly because of the farming and ranching roots that surround us in this little piece of heaven in the foothills. My soul is still out there. I lived, as I say, for 35 years in the area. The community is what it is because people like you stand up and count and say, "Count me in." And for those of you who aren't working in or living in Okotoks, you also have your special little piece of heaven where you live. And I'm sure you get up and you say, "What can I do to make my community a safe and pleasant place to raise my family?" A place that no matter how old you are, you can become involved. A community is only as strong as the people in it. There are no age restrictions. All you need is the desire to become involved and to do something more. So as I approach my 80th birthday, and by the way, I did get my appointment for COVID today. I got through and I'm so excited. But in any event, people are waiting for me to slow down. They say, "I thought you were retired." And my answer to that is, if I've never been tired, how could I possibly be retired? I currently serve on 5 boards of directors and chair 2 of them, where my experience and my interest is most utilized. Some of us are best suited on boards. Others are best suited on the front lines or on an individual basis, because there is no better or best when you're volunteering. The strength is knowing how best you can fit in, how you can contribute, and how you can make a difference. I can have the worst day in the world, but at the end of the day, if I say it was a good day because I helped someone or did something so that someone else had a better day, then man, life don't get no better than that. C-19 has tested our very existence, our patience, and our willpower, but it's also provided opportunity to contribute and appreciate the smaller things in life. And I just can't imagine anything better than bringing a smile to a young person's face, helping them over an obstacle, or just believing in them. As I said, I don't think life gets any better than that. So I always say to people, learn as much as you can, but as much as you give, just give that little bit more. Be part of the solution. And at the end of the day, you'll be able to say, it was a very good day. So thank you very much for asking me to speak with you tonight. I hope you found something in my comments that might resonate with you. And Bill, I want to thank you for that great introduction.
Do you want to unmute, Bill?
Yes, I'm
Thank
unmuted.
you.
Irene Pfeiffer, I'm absolutely blown away. There's so much you have that you've been offering, over all of these years. You're still going, chairing two boards and so on. And I really, the comment resonates with me about getting more out of it from volunteering than you actually put into it. Because of course, and I think that so many of us at Kiwanis, in putting in the efforts to help the kids and so on, and seeing not just the kids, but seeing the absolute joy on the families' faces, because when you help a child, you really help the entire family. So all the things you've talked about, all of your accomplishments, very inspiring words. Thank you very much on behalf of all of Okotoks Kiwanis. A donation will be made in your name to Teen Challenge Alberta. And once again, thank you very much. And once again, I'd like to move a round of applause. Make sure you're moving your hands in a round circle. There we go. Irene, thank you so much for coming and sharing your words with us this evening.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you very much, Irene. I'm sorry, I wish I could attend your birthday party this year as I have in past years. That was a good party. Bill, thank you very much for your excellent introduction and the thanks. And again, from all of the Kiwanians and our guest here, Irene, you're one of my inspirations. Thank you. What we're going to do now is we're going to take 7 minutes and oh, pardon me, I'm going to back up. Is there anyone that has any questions of Irene?
Oh, I've got a quick comment. I think Teresa's new to the party, right? You got to unmute yourself, Teresa.
Yes, I'm new to Kiwanis.
No, new to the group tonight?
Yes.
Yeah, you came in a little bit late. Who you with?
Lena invited me.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Welcome, Teresa.
Thank you.
Sorry. Thanks, Bob. You noticed that.
Welcome.
Is there any questions or comments for Irene? Oh, there I see Russ Snyder. Do you want to unmute yourself, Russ?
Yeah, thanks, Wendy. Irene, that was a fantastic story. Really outstanding work by yourself. You know, in the Kiwanis world, we often talk about the aha moment that really turned your game around with volunteering. Is there anything that sort of jumps out with you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as I mentioned, I had volunteered since I was a little girl, but I have to tell you that when I made the decision to go and work, and that's a loose term I should use, with the Mustard Seed Street Ministry, it was more volunteerism than it was working. They had approached me and asked me to come and work for them, and I said, you can't afford me. I had been working in the oil business before, and so we arranged that I would just get my my expenses covered, if you will. And going to be with these people who I had thoughts about, I knew nothing about them, and I thought I knew so much. And the wonderful payback for me in meeting people who, it may surprise some of you to say, that are homeless or who are drug addicted, taught me so much and taught me the value of volunteering and being so appreciative of what I have and to necessitate to give back. That was very definitely an aha moment for me.
Thank you very much for that question, Roz. Roland, you're going to have to watch the screen. Bill, I see you have your hand up.
Yes, Irene, my question to you would be, in these times of COVID right now with the pandemic, is there a greater need, a lesser need, or are things about the same for helping out people in our society right now? Do you have any comments regarding that?
Yeah, there's absolutely a greater need. I mean, there's been more suicides, there's been more drug overdoses in our communities with COVID. There are many, many lonely people. The way we volunteer is different in many cases. We're on Zoom or we're distancing or whatever we're doing, but the need has never been greater. There's been more family breakups. There's been more stress associated. And the longer it goes on with the uncertainty we have, the more people are reaching their threshold of intolerance or tolerance. And the need is just so much more.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Bill, for that question. Thank you, Irene. Roland, do you see any other hands up?
No, I don't see any. Oh, I see Lena's hand.
Oh, there's Lena. Unmute yourself, Lena.
Thank you, Irene, for your presentation. I think I found a new idol. I do have a comment. I feel that I've been volunteering for a little bit as well now. And I think that I'd like to say that volunteering is almost addictive. And I think you would agree with that. I think one of the aha moments for me was when I volunteered on a habitat build in Cambodia and actually experienced the discrepancy in just seeing the poverty was a real eye opener, right? You see it on TV, it's, it doesn't really click, but when you experience it, it does. And then just volunteering in the school system and so forth. So I think volunteering, you're right in that you receive so much more than you give, and it is addictive because of that, I believe. So.
It is, and in my own personal circumstance, my husband died 18 years ago, and I have 4 children who are married, and I'm a great grandmother. And it would be very easy for me to sit back and say, it's somebody else's turn now, not mine. But you know what? I'm so much richer for doing it. I couldn't possibly think my life could be as good as it is if I weren't doing what I'm doing.
Phil, I believe you had your hand up. Do you want to unmute? Thank you.
Yeah, Irene, I'm very inspired by what you said. On the lighter side, do you have a particular favourite moment in your ventures that you like to share? Just one particular moment?
Well, I have a particular moment every day. I live on Fish Creek Park, and no matter the day, whether it's 40 below like it was a week ago or so, or whether it's now, the dog and I go out for 2 hours walking, and to be amongst all those animals and what have you is just incredible. And so that's very, very precious for me. But more particularly to your answer, one of them might be just a couple of years ago when I spent 1 month traveling with the nomads in Mongolia.
That's great.
Wow. Anyway, thank you very much for that question, Phil. Thank you, Irene. I think we're going to skate along here. Like I say, I'm pretty sure you were my hero and my inspiration, and I'm pretty sure you're going to become some other people's hero and role model and inspiration. So what we're going to do is move on. Kiwanis, Roland's going to show us a 7-minute video. And if you could hold your questions till the end, that would be great. Thank you. Do you want to roll it there, Roland?
Yeah, I'll roll it. Before we get started, Irene, I think Wendy has some pull with St. Peter. So I think you're probably safe wherever you're going. No? I'll show the presentation. I'll try not to speak too much because you talked a lot about the value of volunteering, why we do it. Yeah, there is a little bit about Kiwanis specifically, but I think you've shared a lot on the impact on volunteering on each of us individually. And Kiwanis is that opportunity to focus our volunteer efforts on kids and to make a better community, whether it's for our kids, our grandkids, or our great-great-grandkids. So stay with me for a couple of moments. So Kiwanis is all about kids. We'll give you a little bit of a sketch about Kiwanis, who we are and what we do and the type of work. But again, I'll go fairly quickly through this. Yes, we are a global organization. We're a large organization. And the global part of the organization really tackles big challenges, whether it was the iodine deficiency disorder in the 90s or maternal and neonatal tetanus that were plaguing many countries in the 2000s. Irene, you already talked about the impact to the economy in terms of the service hours, not only economically, but the impact on the community. And I'm so pleased to be able to be here and talk in terms of the Okotoks Club. It is one of the newest clubs in Western Canada that I think you saw from the video. It's that mosaic, ordinary people doing things to uplift the communities and to serve children. And whether we do that alone or in partnership with other organizations, I think the important piece is it's the local club. It's the folks in Okotoks who really say, what is the need here? Yes, there is a global organization, but it's the local club that decides what gets done. There are a couple of myths. Yes, there are a few old boys, if you know, in the organization, and that's an impact of history. But a couple of things that we're not. We're not predominantly a social club, but you heard some of the fellowship and the friendships that have developed. We're not a business networking club, but you do enlarge your network and your contacts through Kiwanis. We're not religious or political. And sorry, Bill, we don't have a secret handshake. There's no real rituals, although I suspect we have a few three-letter acronyms. And I think the other piece is if you have the passion, there's no mandatory attendance rules, contribution rules. You give your time, talent, and treasure as you can and as you wish. And again, Irene, you talked about the passion. And I think those of you who have seen the newsletter that the Okotoks Club have put out, you realize the impact that they've actually had in the community with their annual Christmas toy project, where they invite children from different agencies who otherwise wouldn't have a Christmas experience. They've been part of the community with the Light Up Okotoks, the chili cook-off. Again, part of it being part of the community to build a strong community. I know they're just in the process of writing to the troops at this point through the schools. And again, an opportunity for our youth in terms of community service and that sense of what our parents taught us. I grew up in a farming community as well, and how we just did things. I will mention that one of the things that sort of sets Kiwanis aside from other service organizations is we have, as part of the Kiwanis family, it's not only the adult clubs, but we have programs and clubs from elementary, junior high, senior high, and university. So in the Calgary area, we have a collegiate Kiwanis at the University of Calgary and the University of Lethbridge. We have Key Club, which is again high school led, mentored by Kiwanians. And again, the focus is leadership, community service, and then programs in the junior high and the elementary school. One of the things that I know this pandemic has exacerbated is the difference between those of us who have, or those of us who have privilege, and those who have not. And certainly the Kiwanis Club in Okotoks partnered with a number of other organizations to stuff the bus with school supplies and backpacks so kids in Okotoks could have a better school experience. And I think you see from the presentation, there's also a number of other things that they've done which are good to build that community spirit, build that cohesiveness. I won't talk, talk about what a membership in a Kiwanis Club provides you, but I think, Irene, you touched all of them. The opportunity to make a difference and do good things with children and community. friendships and connections, enhancing your own leadership and team skills, and having a little fun and sharing some laughter along the way. Kiwanis Okotoks is the local club. And Wendy, I thank you and the other members for taking the time to invite me and to share the message of what Kiwanis does in Okotoks, and also your aspirations in terms of what you want to do if you had more members. So with that, I think this is over to you now, Wendy. Kiwanis in Okotoks. Wendy?
Yeah, I'm here.
Over to you.
Kiwanis in
Over to you.
Okotoks, sorry. First, though, I'm going to take a step back. Does anyone have questions about the things you saw on the PowerPoint? Or Roland, are you watching for hands? I'm watching for hands.
Yeah, I'm watching for hands.
There we go.
Bill, I see Bill.
Could you unmute, please?
My question has to do with, we have a number of other participants here. I guess perhaps Wendy or one of the three can comment on the value of partnering with other service organizations. I mean, Stuff the Bus was certainly not our initiative to start with. We certainly latched onto that and helped out. But what is the importance, perhaps Wendy, of partnering with others to make it go further, shall we say?
Yes, and Okotoks has been very successful of that, and we as Kiwanians in Okotoks are very proud of that. Certainly, our city cares came up with the Stuff the Bus thing this year because of COVID. Staples wasn't able to raise the money, which they usually raise money, but instead what they did was clean out their inventory of 9 pallets of school supplies. And they had to have a service club that would actually sign off on it. So we partnered with We City Cares and FCSS, which is our community services group, and Kiwanians and Rotarians. And we hauled those pallets and those supplies and we laid them out and we stuffed all the backpacks because the school children give us lists of what has to go into what grade. And some of us then took it from the area that we stuffed them in over to a distribution center. Cobb's Breads here in Okotoks very kindly went at the distribution site, brought all their day-old breads and things to the distribution so that people can pick up some of that. We partnered with the town in supplying garbage and river cleanup, plus some of our members were out there planting trees with many other clubs like the firefighters. I can't remember them all, Bill, but just a tremendous outpouring to come to that. Of course, Lemonade Day is a thing that we run, that is run here in Okotoks, which is an entrepreneurial type thing. Well, Kiwanis jumped in and helped us with some of the layout, and of course, then we all got our money and we ran around and tasted more lemonade in a day than you would want to drink without being somewhat near a washroom at all times. But just those kind of partnerships with others in the community. And I think that's what builds the links of a community. And I think Bill would concur that this is really many hands make light work.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's my rural background and barn raising. Many hands make light work. Kiwanis doesn't have the monopoly on volunteering or community spirit. And I think it's important to recognize that Kiwanis clubs find a need in the community, and whether they themselves or in partnership with other organizations work towards the solution. So whether it's Lemonade Day, Stuff a Bus, or whether it's projects you do on your own, Kiwanis brings together those parties and is the mechanism to help bring those parties together for common good for kids, common good for the community. So partnership is a model. It's a way that we get things done. Small but mighty.
Thank you, Bill, for that. I'm glad you brought that up because I think that's a very important element that we don't want to miss. Is there any other comments or questions? Okay, then I'm going to swing into just an important question that most people who are thinking about joining Kiwanis or being part of Kiwanis is, or any service organization, is how big a hit on my pocketbook is it going to be? Our dues currently, each person or each group or family group pays $175 per year to Kiwanis International, and that gives us our and Western Canadian District, that gives us our magazines, it gives us our connections. So a lot of benefits flowing out of the district and out of international. We take another $25 for what we call our club. So the dues are $200 a year. That doesn't matter, it is for a family package. So one person in your family may have a membership, but this spouse is more than welcome to attend the meetings. They're non-voting, but it is a family and a couple organization. Corporately, a corporate can join, same as $200. They designate one of their people to come and attend the meetings, or they can, they can trade off people to come and attend meetings and be involved with us in that way. So our $25 just takes care of our administrative costs. It takes care of our liability insurance, and it allows our international organizations and our Canadian Foundation to start to support clubs because they give us grants to send kids to camp. We have matching scholarship programs and other specific projects. And one of our most recent projects is we managed to get a huge bucket of hand sanitizer when hand sanitizer was sort of like finding the man in the moon. And we were able to repackage and distribute to places like FCSS, to the food bank, places that, that just people that just couldn't get their hands on sanitizers. So that was kind of fun with mixing and pouring and decanting, but it got it out to the community, and it was a need that was immediately seen. People got together, reacted to it, and we did the best job we could for our community, getting that short supplied item out into where people needed it most. So that just gives you a little idea. It's $200. Our club is talking about, as a special deal, our year ends on September 30th. We will be discussing on what kind of special offer we're going to give to those who wish to join between now and September 30th. I can't give you a number on that. That's something that the club still has to decide. But I think we're going to give you a special deal. So we're going to move on. And one of the things that is always nice is our club members, as Irene said, what is your aha moment? So I'm going to call on one of our, actually, it's not a new member, it's a new member for us. I'm going to call on Melanie Taylor, and I want to talk, she's going to talk about, just very briefly, about one of her ahas and what it meant to the people we served and to her. Melanie?
Thanks, Wendy. So I was very fortunate to partner with two other Kiwanis members in our club, Dennis and Lena, and we took on the project of writing to the Canadian Forces troops. So a little bit background on me. I am a retired officer from the Canadian Armed Forces, so this one spoke to me. And what we did was we had schools within and around the area of Okotoks, and they did Christmas cards and letters to the Canadian Forces troops. And then Lena and Dennis and myself went online, found out how to get these letters to the troops. And we were very fortunate to do about 2 or 3 to our land operations. And then I did a little digging because I figured, well, there's 3 elements of the forces. So I found the HMCS Toronto, who was on Operation Reassurance, which was a NATO deployment. And they were in the Baltic North Sea helping out with NATO things. What we did when we decided where we were going to send these Christmas cards, we then got back to the school and said, okay, this is where your package of Christmas cards went. And it gave the opportunity to the students to now be able to do a little bit of research and delve deeper into what the operation, what the deployment was, who was involved. And it just worked really well, I think, for both the students. It was very fulfilling for me to be able to be part of it. And I know from speaking to my colleagues and other members who are still serving in the armed forces, it means a lot to them too. So hopefully we're going to be able to do this again next year, or this year, later this year, and reach even more operations out there around the world.
Thank you very much, Melanie. Appreciate it very much. And I think one of our newest members, Lenny next.
Hi. How are you?
Good.
What do you want me to share?
Yes, about the Christmas toy project. You had a little story.
Yeah, no, the Christmas toy project was just amazing. Like watching all of the families, you know, picking out their toys and helping the kids pick them out and surprise their siblings. And it was just really, really awesome. And I like the most touching experience for me was there was a little girl who just came and just gave me the biggest hug in the entire world. And her mom was like, no, with COVID. And I was like, no, we accept these hugs, because it was just the most touching thing in the entire world. It made the entire difference to her, clearly. And it was so sweet.
Thank you, Lenny. That's really why we do it. And we all experience very precious moments at the kids' Christmas parties that many of us can discuss. It's really touches you right here, and sometimes can draw a tear or two, even from some of us old gnarly people. Now we have a third testimonial, and I've asked Bob Morrison to give that. And he's got 48 years in Kiwanis. And I asked him to give me 48 years in 51 seconds. Bob?
Just a bit of structuring for the sake of our guests. I belong to the Northmount Kiwanis Club for, yes, 48 years, but I also belong to the Okotoks Kiwanis Club, and the Northmount Kiwanis Club sponsored the Okotoks Kiwanis Club. So that's the relationship between those two Kiwanis clubs. Here's my Reader's Digest version of 48 years in Kiwanis. My greatest takeaway is meeting hundreds of kind and caring Kiwanis members, some of which have become lifelong friends. It's been 48 years of helping children and youth in harm's way, 48 years of laughter, and 48 years of discovering positive things about myself. And now for one of the greatest benefits of all. I can now actually attend a Kiwanis Zoom meeting while wearing my pajama bottoms.
Thank you, Bob. That may be way too much information.
Don't stand up.
Yeah. And I just wanted to say, because like I say, we're very respectful of your time. And I just wanted to make note that I am wearing pink today, because today is Anti-Bullying Day.
Yes, pink shirt day.
Pink shirt day. So that's something that we can all keep in mind as we go forward. Is there any questions that any of you have of what you heard this evening before we close off?
Wow, we were that good, eh?
Yeah, we're that good.
Wow.
But one of the things that, in closing, what I want to say is thank you very much for spending this hour with us. Thank you, Irene. You were a special treat for us. And you can go home and think about Kiwanis and what you heard tonight. And your host, the person who invited you to share your evening with us, will be in touch over the next few days, or you can talk to them or contact them if you want more information or choose to perhaps get more involved. So all I can say is I wish you a very good evening and a very good weekend. I heard it's going to be cold again. And I wish you a good Kiwanian week.